warm welcome to you all to the one-on-one set. Tonight, our conversation will revolve around good nutrition. When it comes to healthy eating, most of us do know what it is. Less fried food, less sugar, more vegetables, more fruits. But many of us do not know how to go about achieving good nutrition. So tonight, in this episode of One on One, we have with us Vandana Gujadhur. She is a nutritionist, and during this episode, she's going to share with us more about how we can go about achieving good nutrition. Vandana, thank you so much for joining us in the studio of the MVC.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Vandana, so you are a dietitian nutritionist for so many years now, right? It's been a lot of years. And you are in Mauritius. You've been practicing in Canada for around 10 years, right?
Yes,
So
11
in
years.
Mauritius, we are currently during the winter season. Many people are falling sick, having flu. What type of food can we have to avoid falling sick during this winter season?
Number one, we have to stay hydrated, drinking lots of fluid all day because when we're in winter, we tend to not feel thirsty. So it's important to stay hydrated, and it makes it difficult for the viruses to attach to our throat. And also, we have to keep our meals very much varied with lots of different colors. Why colors? Because they bring with different micronutrients like vitamin C, beta carotene, and these antioxidants they prevent you from falling sick because they help you make new immune cells and support your immune system. But also, there are probiotics, which is quite a trending product nowadays, which you get in fermented foods. They help to support your immune system. So, a daily intake of probiotics can also help with the immune system.
So this will help actually to boost our immune system, right?
Yeah, so they help with supporting the immune system. And also in the winter, we tend to want to have more warm foods. So even like nice hot soups, vegetable soups are great to have. And you can add some ginger in that. And ginger has an anti-inflammatory effect on the body. So that can also help in staying healthy in this winter.
Great. And when we talk about diets also, a lot of us mistakenly associate weight loss with fat diets, but eating a nutritious food diet is actually the best way to maintain a healthy weight, right? So how does a good nutrition help for weight management?
Well, that's a great question. First of all, I want to say that there is an abundance of information out there, but yet a lack of knowledge. It could be someone who's lost 4 or 5 kilos and now has become a weight loss guru. Or it could be somebody who went to see a dietitian and saw great results and then now is coaching people. Or it could be someone who just tried it on their own at home. It worked really well and now has become the influencer in the weight loss. So it's very important to know the source of information we are getting. Is it credible information? Is it from the right person? And globally, we know that registered dietitians are trained, whether they've done like a national exam in their country or they're licensed, they are associated and regulated with a regulatory body. So we can trust that body of information because we know they are interpreting the research rightly, and that's a credible information. So firstly, knowing the source of information we are getting. Who is it that's giving us the information? Because there's so much out there, and it's very difficult
On the
for
internet, there's
the
so much actually,
so much
and we don't know.
everywhere. Maybe your aunt or your friend or whoever,
And what
everybody.
works for one may not work for the other, right?
Exactly, because everybody's body is different, and this is why it's very important to take care of that. Secondly, when it comes to weight loss, I want to bring it out that overweight or being obese, it's in fact a medical condition. It's been
Yes.
recognized as a medical condition by the World Health Organization. So we cannot ignore that. It's not just for aesthetic reasons, it's for medical reason. And it's not because a person is overweight or obese is likely a person has lack of willpower or the person is lazy, or the person doesn't have discipline. It could be many reasons that
Be
put a
genetic
person
as well.
genetic. It could be genetic, it could be hormonal,
Exactly.
it could be many other
Many
reasons,
reasons.
lifestyle reasons. So it's important to have the right resources. So, firstly, getting some medical clearance before you start a diet, before you start to make any changes to your lifestyle. Good idea to have two people on your team, at least, for sure. Start with going to have a check with a medical practitioner. And then, if you want to adopt a new diet, a new lifestyle, then taking the support of a registered dietitian. Because there's something we call medical nutrition therapy. It's a therapy.
Yeah.
It's a treatment we have to do. It's not just a fad diet. Okay, you lose weight and then off you go. Because what happens is that with those so-called fad diets, you will likely see results, but they're likely short term. They're less likely to be long term. And when we think about weight loss, you want to first also see what's the reason, what's your motivation
Yeah.
for it.
Indeed. But do you
Mhm.
personally believe in those different diets, keto and many others that we have?
I would personally tell you, Koyal, I'm not here to criticize any diet. I will not say that I know it all and they're all wrong
Yeah.
or all right. What I will say is, in the body of literature that we have today, what we know is the changes that we can stick to long term work better. So we call it a lifestyle change. If a person today thinks about, okay, I will make these changes, and I always tell this to my clients, do you see yourself doing that forever?
Yeah.
If
It's
you
tough.
say yes,
It's
then I will
tough.
say do it.
Consistency, right?
Consistency. If you tell me, okay, I will do diet A, B, C, and it takes you so much effort to maintain that diet, and at some point you will just relapse and you'll just stop doing it,
That's the truth.
and you may not see the results long
Yeah.
term.
Some may, just involve in some form of diet just because they had a wedding to attend, and after that event, the lifestyle is back to normal. And this may be unhealthy for them, right?
Yes, doing it without medical support, without support of a healthcare professional, puts you at risk. They are endangering themselves
Indeed.
because you don't know what's going on inside you. I say it this way. In order, let's say you make a cake, a
Yeah.
very delicious cake, you need the right ingredients to make that cake. And then what happens is you just decorate it with beautiful icing just to make it look good. But what happens if you made a cake that doesn't have all the right ingredients in it, but you decorate it very nicely? You will see it, oh, it's so delicious, looks so nice. But the moment you taste it, it tastes very bad
Yeah.
because the recipe was not followed. So I go by the fundamentals of eating, which means that there are, like I'll say, the five things. You need your macros, the protein, carbs, and fats. You need the vitamins and minerals. So if you have all these five components as part of your plate, you are eating healthily. But if a diet is telling you, no, don't have the fat, no, don't have the carbs, no, don't have the protein, whether it's high protein, low protein, like all different types of diets, that's wrong. Because that's when you're missing one part of the element that your body needs. So you're missing that ingredient that's needed for the base of your cake.
Okay.
And then you are trying all different types of products so that it helps you to maybe boost your metabolism, maybe you see results in short term. What happens when you stop using those
Indeed.
products? Then you're back to square one.
Yeah.
So correcting the fundamentals are very important. And this is why I wouldn't say that a diet is wrong or right, but it's about thinking, do you think you can do it forever?
Yeah. Definitely. But now we've talked about weight loss, but
Mhm.
there are also people, who want to gain weight. And food plays an important role in helping someone to gain weight in a healthy way. We all know that you can go to gym to build muscles, but nutrition also have a crucial role to play, right? So talk to us. How can someone gain weight in a healthy way by not only eating, fried chips and all that?
Yes, that's a great question. You will see that just as hard it is for certain people to lose weight, it is as hard to gain weight.
Yeah.
So it's two different sides of it. And one thing again, I go back to the fundamentals, which I will not change. And it may sound boring to a lot of people. She's seeing the same things that I've already heard. But it goes back to that balanced plate, having your vegetables, having your protein, having your grains. And likely a person who wants to gain weight, then we will have to revisit that balance on the plate, the choices that they are making, and the frequency of how often they're eating. Perhaps the person has a very high metabolism. Perhaps the person will have to eat more frequently during the day, or perhaps will have to make higher calorie choices or higher protein choices. And absolutely, when we are talking about weight gain, exercise is a very important part of weight gain, as surprising as it is. If you hear someone wanting to lose weight, you tell them, go to the gym and
Yeah.
exercise. But now I'm telling you, if you want to gain weight, yes,
Yes.
go and exercise.
It's a healthy way to build muscles, right?
Exactly. So it's about having all the elements on the plate and the frequency of eating and the right choices. Mhm.
Yes, so weight loss, weight gain, but how can we, eat more smartly without really restricting ourselves from having, from time to time, a bit of dessert, sugar?
Absolutely. Koyal, I'll tell you one thing. Going back to the base of eating a complete healthy meal, if you've given your body what it needs, it will give you what you want.
Mhm.
So, no matter what your goals are, whether your goal is weight loss, whether your goal is staying optimal health, and you still like certain treats certain times, so to still allow yourself to eat those treats, the fundamentals have to be kept right, eating balanced and varied. Now, if you've had a very well balanced meal with the protein, the grains, and the vegetables, then you are used to, let's say, having a small dessert after every meal. Well, you should really not be eating that dessert after that meal if you've had a complete meal. Your
Yeah.
body got what it needed. So it's less likely to be that need from the body, but it's more that, like physiologically, um, you don't need it. But psychologically, it's that
Okay.
craving. Your mind wants it.
Yeah.
Your body does not need it. Your body does not want it. It's your mind that wants it. So it's more psychological rather than
Yes.
physiological. And it means that likely it's a habit we've had for a long time that, whenever I eat a meal, I have something sweet.
Yeah.
So it's become a habit. So now automatically I have my meal, I want something sweet without even thinking about it.
Yes.
Or it also could be, all the time growing up, my parents used to always have a dessert, or myself, we grew
Mm-hmm.
up in that family tradition. So we have to go back to the why are you wanting to have that dessert or that something sweet, and then seeing how often are you having it in your week. If it's every day, then certainly we need to talk and see what can we do so that you can still allow yourself to have those treats, but less frequently in your week. We will keep it, but less frequently.
Moderation is everything, right?
Moderation is key.
Yes.
Yes.
And Vandana, nowadays we also
Mhm.
see some people, adopting the vegan lifestyle, vegetarian, for different reasons, sometimes for health reasons as well. But our body also needs protein, to build certain muscles.
Mhm.
So what are the protein that a vegetarian or vegan person can have in their
Yes.
meal?
So we can certainly have enough protein on a plant based diet. And that's a trend. And for various reasons, a person could be vegan or vegetarian. Protein choices you can get from nuts, seeds, and even grains that are a bit higher in protein, for example, quinoa, millet, and also from the obvious ones, the lentils and beans, and soya beans, so tofu, and if you're vegan, then these will be your plant choices. But then you can also have sprouts as well. They are also high in protein, grain sprouts or lentil sprouts. Certainly, if you are including the right amount of these food choices throughout the day with proper planning, because when we are following a certain type of eating plan, whether it's vegan, whether it's any other diet, it's very important to do it rightly. There are there are studies showing that there are multiple benefits of being on a vegan diet. But if it has to be followed rightly, because there are nutrients that we could be missing out on. So it has to be done with proper planning. So protein is usually one of them. We find that most vegans do not meet their needs if they're not eating right.
And as a registered dietitian nutritionist, do you think it is important to take into consideration the gender or age of an individual when setting the meal plan?
Yes, of course, all our needs will change depending on how tall we are, our body weight, the stage of life we are. Let's say if somebody is pregnant, their need will be different. They will still need the protein, but likely a higher iron protein. If a person is a senior citizen and likely less active and at home, mostly on the bed or on the chair, then likely I would still say you need the protein, but likely you need more calcium rich sources, because then we have to make sure your bones are staying strong if you're less active. So definitely the needs will change and the nutrition plan will change.
What about students though? We all know that students, have some stress, academic pressure. Do you think that there's certain food that they should consume that will help them, to improve their focus or even memory?
Yes, I've been a student myself, and I'm sure you have
Yeah.
also been a student yourself at some point. We have all gone through this. And I'll tell you now, being in the professional world, that the stress will always be with you. It will
Always.
not leave you. It's how you handle it. It will be there, but it's how you manage it. And it's very important to know how to manage the stress. And yes, there are more and more studies showing that the food you eat can impact how you feel, can impact how you manage stress. So certainly going back to the basic, having that balanced meal, but we will likely put more focus on the type of fats that you're using, whether there are more omega-3s, so likely more from oily fish if you are consuming fish. So there's certain aspects of your food we will focus more, because then that will help you deal with the stress. There's certain micronutrients we use more when we are stressed, for example, vitamin B12 and other B vitamins. So your body is needing more of those nutrients. Then we need to focus on achieving and meeting those needs by including more of those food sources. So I would say student or professional, any stage a person is stressed, good idea to still eat well balanced, but again, focusing on certain foods more.
I'm sure that will be a good advice for the students who are watching us right now.
Absolutely.
Vandana, we've talked about diets earlier, but there's also the intermittent fasting, which has
Mhm.
really become kind of a trend and a health trend right now. It's claimed to, cause weight loss as well as improve metabolic health. So, what is your perception on that type of intermittent fasting?
Yes. So first, let's see what is intermittent fasting. So intermittent fasting is where your body's in a fasted state. You're restricted eating for a certain period of time. Whether that three different types. So whether it's like a fast and feast, where you eat on alternative days and you fast on alternative days, or there is like 5-2, where you eat for 5 days and you fast for 5 days. Sorry, you eat for 5 days and you fast for two
Yeah.
days. Or also there is the most common one is the 16-8, where you fast for 16 hours and you eat for an 8-hour window. So whether it's your early morning 8-hour window or afternoon. Now, what the understanding behind it is that when you are in a fasted state, when you're eating minimal amount of food, your blood glucose levels are declining. Same with your insulin levels. Insulin is known as that fat storing hormone. So it's understood that if your insulin levels are going down, then likely you're storing less fat. And it favors your body to use alternative sources of fueling to keep you energized. And what we have seen in many short-term studies, unfortunately, there hasn't been a lot of long-term studies, like 1 to 6 months, that we have seen, yes, some weight loss, we have seen some improvements in cardiometabolic markers, but it's not likely related or directly related to the fasting. It's likely believed that it's because of the calorie deficit. So you're likely eating less overall, fewer calories, which leads to that weight loss. So whether IF, intermittent fasting, is really helps with weight loss, the question is still out there. We
Okay.
don't know. We don't know enough. But I have to tell you, Koyal, there's a fresh new study that just came out 2 months ago, March
Yeah.
2024. It was presented at the American Heart Association. It was a long-term study of 8 years where they studied 20,000 individuals, and 50% were men, 50% were women. The mean age was 40 to 50. And they found that intermittent fasting, so they did the time restricted eating, so the 16-8,
Huh?
and they found it increased the risk of cardiovascular death by 91%.
God.
It made headlines, it's
Yeah.
still making headlines in North America. So what do we know about IF
Yeah,
so
true.
far? But there were some flaws of the study. We are still trying to analyze it more. What types of food did they consume during intermittent fasting that likely increased the risk of cardiovascular risk? So most studies that we've seen with intermittent fasting, they don't really tell you the type of foods they're eating. They are just talking about the time window. So it's an area that needs to be studied
Explored.
more and explored more. And even with the study that just came out, we need to analyze it more. So the jury is still out on this.
Vandana, we all know that the work of a nutritionist is not so easy. It's actually quite a big responsibility. So, what are the challenges or difficulties that you faced over time?
Yes, I do face certain difficulties when a client comes to me with unrealistic goals that I know we cannot achieve in a certain time frame. So I always make it very clear. I like to, in my first session itself, I don't like to give false hope because I have a background where I have to make sure I'm making any changes and any advice safely. Safety and the health of the person is my priority. And perhaps for the person is how they look is important. For me, how they feel
Yeah.
is important. So we come up with an agreement. So somehow these are some of the difficulties I have, but we do come up with an agreement. Um, I want to say something, Koyo. When it comes to health, I like to say that your health is in your hand. And I tell that to all my clients. Your health is in your hand. And if you have these 5 aspects, which I'll tell you, under control, so for example, if you eat right, if you're exercising regularly, if you're sleeping adequately, if you're managing your stress, and if you're spiritual, you can pack a fist and you can punch any medical condition. And most of the time, when I have somebody tells me, I'm eating right, I'm exercising, but I'm not losing weight, I'm not getting the goals, that's because all the fingers of your hands are not being, all those elements are not under control. Maybe you're not sleeping right, which most of the time happens. I have seen a lot of people not sleeping enough, or they're living in chronic
All have
stress.
to be aligned, right?
All have to be aligned to get that health. So that's one also of the difficulties I get. So I like to explain that if you have all these 5 elements under control, you're good, you're
Right.
nickel.
We are actually drawing towards the end of this episode, but before that, Vandana, what are your future goals or any projects that you're working on right now, or any changes that you'd like to bring in this field?
At the moment, many people may know, may not know that I'm a mom of 2 very busy boys and a toddler. So my focus right now is definitely thriving in this field of nutrition. It's growing. There's always a new aspect of health, of nutrition that we can do, along with managing my life. So I'm more like on a work-life balance. So for now, I am doing different kind of projects, exciting projects where I can still be a mom and be there for my kids, and yet be a dietitian and be there for my profession. So I am still growing in this field. I am doing different things. I'm doing consultations. I am doing workshops. I am also doing a few health shows. So I'm loving what I'm doing right now, and it's all in a balance.
We wish you all the best for the future.
Thank you so
But
much.
Vandana, any last advice you would like to give to our youngsters who are watching us right now about how to adopt a healthy lifestyle?
Adopting a healthy lifestyle comes again with my five fingers, pack the fist, and punch any health condition, is making sure that I know it's a challenge to eat healthy when you are a student, because what's your focus is making sure you're able to stay up late and studying, and food is not a priority for that time. But knowing that food is what fuels your brain, it's very important for your brain to function.
Breakfast.
Breakfast, or I would say it's not just breakfast. I would give equal importance to all meals of the day. I will not say that breakfast is the most important meal. I will say all your meals are equally important, but the quantities of your meals will change as per your activity level throughout the day. If you're more active during the day, then yes, you need more food. If you're less active and end of day, you will likely need less food. So it's based on your activity, but all meals are equally important. So knowing that food is important, and giving quality, because we tend to just eat empty calories just for the fact of filling our stomach, that it's not growling. No, it's important to keep the right foods, even when when you're studying at your desk, keeping some healthy snacks that you can just grab and have. And hydration, I find with students and most of us, we don't drink enough water, and water is essential. It's important to help you absorb nutrients. If you're not hydrating yourself very well, and you're eating all the food you want, but all the nutrients are not being well absorbed and utilized in your body. So it's very important, I would say, to all students to always keep even a water bottle or have easy access to hydration.
Thank you, Vandana. It was a delight to have you tonight on the set of One on One and learn more about healthy eating.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you.
Dear viewers, we have now come to the end of this episode. Thank you for your time. We hope to catch you next week at the same time, same channel. Have a great evening.